The woman watched as her daughter was taken away by a human trafficker, but she did not stop them in time. Instead, she blamed everything on her in-laws. Her in-laws, feeling guilty for losing their granddaughter, fell seriously ill as a result. Unbeknownst to them, all of this was part of a trap set by the woman, her goal being to wait for the right moment to reveal the truth. It all started 4 years ago, when the woman, who had always insisted on being child-free, suddenly became pregnant. She happily discussed baby names with her husband, but he appeared absent-minded. The next moment, their car was involved in an accident. When she woke up, she was in a hospital bed, and the child in her womb disappeared. She immediately asked the nurse where her child and husband were. The nurse told her that her child was in the next room, and that her in-laws are taking care of the child. In a panic, the woman rushed to the next room. Just as she was about to open the door, she overheard a secret spoken by her in-laws. It turned out that the car accident had been planned by her husband to fraudulently claim a large insurance payout, but the woman was lucky to have survived. So her husband staged his own death to receive the $5 million compensation, and then quietly lived with his mistress. The most despicable part was that they abandoned the woman's daughter in the wild, replacing her with the child of the husband and mistress. Hearing that her daughter might be dead, the woman covered her mouth and cried in despair. It was because of her husband's family's despicable actions that the woman came up with a plan for revenge. When her daughter turned 4, she deliberately had a human trafficker take her daughter away, then placed all the blame on her in-laws. Her in-laws, guilt-ridden over losing their granddaughter. For the next 5 years, they searched tirelessly for their granddaughter, while the woman casually strolled around shopping and walking her dog, coldly watching her in-laws in their pitiful state. 5 years later, a family reunion show came to the woman's house, claiming they had found her daughter. The woman immediately said they had mistaken the person, and promptly closed the door. At that moment, her in-laws returned from outside, and when they heard the news that the show had found their granddaughter, they were ecstatic. They were preparing to attend the reunion show the next day. However, the woman didn't seem at all anxious, and continued to walk downstairs to take her dog out. In her heart, though, she was excited. She intends to expose her in-laws and husband's sinful behavior on live television tomorrow. The next day, on the reunion show, the woman sat emotionlessly holding her dog, in stark contrast to her in-laws, who were overjoyed. The audience began to gossip about her cold behavior. When the little girl appeared, her grandparents instantly embraced her with tears in their eyes, but the woman remained sitting, unmoving. Soon, the show attracted a lot of viewers online, who criticized the woman for not being a fit mother. What they didn't know was that this little girl wasn't even the woman's daughter. The host repeatedly urged the woman to embrace her daughter, but she reluctantly walked up to the girl. When the little girl stretched out her arms, the woman recoiled, disgusted by how dirty the girl was. This only sparked more criticism from the audience. However, the woman had always wanted to remain child-free, and if it weren't for her in-laws' pressure, she would never have had children. Moreover, the little girl had been lost due to her in-laws' negligence, so it was not her responsibility at all. The host quickly intervened, saying that the woman wasn't ready to accept her daughter, and the interview continued. When asked who had taken the girl 5 years ago, the little girl, terrified, dared not speak. The woman, hoping the truth would be revealed, used the dog to intimidate the girl into speaking. Finally, the little girl recalled what happened 5 years ago, and said that it was her mother who had the trafficker take her away. Everyone was stunned, and the father-in-law, in his anger, slapped her across the face. At that moment, the woman publicly announced that she wanted to divorce her husband. Her mother-in-law claimed that her son had died in a car accident 9 years ago. The next second, the woman took out photos she had secretly taken, which showed her husband with his mistress. It was then that everyone realized her husband had faked his death, and he was actually present at the show. The woman immediately pointed him out.